In the previous video, we talked about everything that awaits Power Rangers in 2026, and one of the most important things that everyone is waiting for is obviously the reboot. Unfortunately, we have seen very little information about this new series, and although some things have been confirmed, we still don't know the most important details. In any project, the most important thing is the story, and since this is a reboot, anything can happen. Today we are going to analyze 5 theories about the story that the reboot might have. Some of these stories are rumors circulating on the internet, and others are theories based on what has happened in the past with the franchise. The first theory is something that many have thought about, which is that the reboot could be a new Mighty Morphin story. This is quite logical since the first attempt to reboot the franchise was in 2017, and that's exactly what they did. They created a new Mighty Morphin story. There are 2 ways they can do this. The first is to do something similar to what they did in the 2017 movie, a slightly different Mighty Morphin story, changing each character's story and creating a different central story. The second thing they can do is create a Mighty Morphin story almost identical to the original story, but changing a few things to make it a modern series. The reality is that both could be a failure, and I'll explain why. The 2017 movie was well made, had excellent visual effects, impressive quality, and excellent actors. Despite this, that movie failed, and although some things influenced that failure, the reality is that the most important reason was due to the change in the story of such iconic characters. The second formula, which is to create a story almost identical to Mighty Morphin, is not going to work either, as fans are tired of that team and want something new. In addition to this, what makes that team so famous is the love that fans have had for the actors over the years, and this could be the decisive factor in the failure of that formula. No one wants to see another actor playing Tommy, and the same goes for the other characters, so this first theory has almost nothing positive about it. The second theory is one of the most likely, as there are many rumors about this, and that is that the reboot will feature a new team. This also includes a new story, new villains, new characters, and possibly a slightly different formula, but with all the essence of Power Rangers. Some of the things that have been said about this theory are that it will be aimed at a more mature audience, which means that the story will be a little darker and more dramatic. I've always thought that this is the right path for the franchise, but there are some people who see negative aspects in this formula for a reboot. Many are afraid that Power Rangers will abandon tokusatsu to become a common superhero story, something similar to Marvel, and this could indeed happen. Some producers think that tokusatsu is a very small niche and that the goal of Power Rangers is to reach the masses in order to become a successful franchise. The reality is that, although tokusatsu is a niche, there are some tokusatsu franchises that have reached the masses, and the best example is Godzilla. We can even take the 2017 movie as an example, since what failed in that movie was not the tokusatsu, but the story. That's why if producers create a great story that connects with people, then everyone will connect with the series because the story is the most important thing. The Godzilla movies have been successful because of the story, and no one has complained about seeing giant monsters destroying cities. The difference is that all the destruction Godzilla causes have consequences. It's more realistic, which is obvious in a project aimed at a more mature audience. That has never happened in Power Rangers because it was a children's series, so well-made tokusatsu aimed at a more mature audience can be a success. The third theory is that the reboot could be a continuation of the old universe, but with a story set in the future. Remember that the story of the Time Force team is set in the year 3000, and the other futuristic story is SPD, which is set in 2025. This means that there is 975 years of space to create a series in that era that can connect with the old universe and also have a bit of the history of the other teams, even though it is a new team. This is a theory that many fans would like to see happen, as it would mean that Rangers from the old universe could return and make appearances in different episodes of the new series. Despite this, this is one of the least likely theories since it would not be a reboot, it would be a continuation, and it would be pointless for Hasbro to stop the franchise in 2023 if they were planning to make a new season of the old universe. Another thing is that Hasbro is looking to turn Power Rangers into a profitable business, as this franchise has not been generating as much profit for a long time, even with the small investment they had to make to create the episodes. Remember that Power Rangers has always been created using scenes from Sentai, which helped them reduce costs, but now Sentai has also been put on hold. This would mean that they would have to invest in everything, which means higher expenses, and if they are going to create the same thing they have been doing for 30 years, then they will have less profits due to the extra expense of not having the Japanese scenes. It is for this reason that Power Rangers need something different, a new formula that will attract the attention of the masses and not just the fans, as the franchise needs to generate more money to stay afloat. The fourth theory is that the reboot could be something very separate from Power Rangers and that they only use some basic ideas from the franchise to create a very different new project. Let's explain this in more detail. Power Rangers is based on a team of heroes who obtain power from an inexhaustible source of energy and transform themselves to use powerful suits to defeat monsters from space who want to rule the universe. This is the central idea of Power Rangers, and in the new project, they could use that same idea to create a team with very different suits, who don't use Zords, who don't have a transformation sequence, and who don't explain the origin of their power. They could create something simpler, with more basic villains, such as an evil millionaire businessman or something similar. They could remove all the tokusatsu and take out everything related to science fiction or fantasy. Basically, it would be like a somewhat basic action series with a story without fantasy, but using the basic principles of Power Rangers. Imagine this, a team of 5 people of different ages who have been trained to be super soldiers and who will use special suits to stop evil millionaire villains who want to rule the earth by creating destruction. Imagine that these 5 soldiers don't have an epic transformation, they just put on their suits normally and don't have powers, just good training. The latest theory is that they want to reboot another team from the old universe, which is something many have requested. Although we saw in 2017 that rebooting a team from the old universe was a failure, many people are interested in seeing another team in a reboot with a new story. One of the most mentioned teams for this theory is SPD, and this is because that series had a great story and a theme that many people liked. SPD is supposed to be a futuristic series, but because it was created in 2005 with a mediocre budget, the visual effects are terrible, so imagine that same concept, but with a huge budget. If they use modern technology, high-quality visual effects, an adequate budget, and incredible actors, that series could be very good. Despite this, the series could face the same obstacles as the 2017 movie, since using beloved characters and changing their story could not sit well with fans. The reboot is very complicated because the goal is to bring Power Rangers to the masses and make the franchise a competitive product that can rival all those franchises that have managed to change.